Yeah, I was going through a bit of a bad patch with a young man who I was really struggling to get on the phone or to get in person and have a meaningful conversation with. And he wasn't really complying with his order. And a lot of our sessions around that time were descending into like chaos where he would lose his temper and run out, or I would lose my temper and shout at him. And we weren't really able to get anywhere because we were always at such a heightened state.
So on this particular phone call you were describing earlier, what were the emotions you were feeling going into that phone call?
Anxious, on high alert, ready to pounce, ready for attack. Ready to defend why I was ringing. I'm always like trying to defend what I'm doing with this young person. So I had that, and I was also talking really fast, and maybe it was adrenaline, perhaps. But with him, because he was always rushing me off the phone, I felt like I had to like really quickly and succinctly get the message across that I was there to deliver.
But in this particular instance, what emotions did you stop and think that young person might be feeling?
Well, I noticed that he was sort of presenting in the same way that I was. So I just thought, let's try something different here. Let's just attune to that. Let's not talk about the thing that I needed to talk about, which was him not complying with his order, and just talk about what was going on right now in the moment between the two of us. So I can't remember my exact words, but I just sort of said, look, I'm noticing that you're in a real hurry to get me off the phone, and I'm noticing that you don't seem to want to be here right now to have this quick conversation with me about this. So can we maybe talk about that?
So what you're actually doing was tuning into his emotional state.
Yeah.
And reflecting it back to him.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's quite challenging to do in a phone conversation, but the fact that you did that, what immediately happened on that call?
It's hard to know because it was a phone call, but he went silent, and suddenly it felt like the Russians stopped. It just felt like we both stopped, and then I stayed silent. And I normally, when there's a silence, I feel like I need to fill it, and I didn't. So we just kind of sat and held that together.
And in that time, do you think he was calming down?
Yes. Yes, he certainly was, as was I.
That's brilliant. So, you're both kind of emotionally aligned now. And then what were you able to do as a result of that?
As a result of that, I was able then to move the conversation on to what was going on between us two relationally, in terms of me being the yacht worker who he hasn't chosen in his life. And from that, we've been able to have like really rich and complex discussions around power, around social graces, around our relationship essentially, and try and negotiate another way to talk about those things, such as compliance, in a way that doesn't descend into an emotional episode. Since then, I've had lots of more examples of where I've had to deal with the same types of situations with him, but I'm able to do it now with him. I'm able to have that conversation. I think there's a better foundation there because of this, because of that basic attunement and dealing with that first before going in with the detail.
Yeah. I think Dan Siegel says you need to connect before you redirect. You've got to make that connection with that person before you can even have the opportunity to redirect them.
Yeah, that's a nice way of summarizing it. Yeah, that's what's going on. Yeah.
Well, that's great because